mess with me, I'm fine. Just don't look into my eyes. You only gave a bunch of lies, but also gave me life. Now you want me to go hide again.
What's up, y'all? I'm Kaylin. Welcome back to Violet Intentions. Today we are going to be talking about this Cancer new moon. This new moon is an interesting one to me. It arrives at this really interesting moment in time. We are in the middle of retrograde period. Neptune stationed retrograde a week prior to this new moon. Mercury has been retrograde. It just had its Cazimi with the sun on Sunday, meaning that we are at the halfway point through Mercury retrograde. Saturn either just stationed retrograde or is about to station retrograde. And then at the end of this week, we have that bucket configuration with the outer planets, right? This is the peak point of the entire year. This is what astrologers have been talking about for a very long time. It's finally arriving, right? So we're in this moment of like pause, review, revisit, revise, potentially past resurfacing to like give you a little check-in, and then this like huge propeller into the new. This new moon feels like a suspension in time, this pause between two breaths where past and future are colliding. This new moon is conjunct Mercury retrograde, and we have to dive in and explore this Mercury retrograde because, at least for my journey, it has been profoundly informative. So Mercury stationed retrograde on the Capricorn full moon, which is very interesting because it's taking the energy that we had under that full moon and carrying it forward for its entire retrograde season. The Capricorn full moon brought themes with it of a further dismantling of some of these patriarchal structures, of productivity over all cost, of the roles and responsibilities and commitments that we're making, and are they true? Are they aligned with who we're becoming? Mercury stationing retrograde under that energy in Cancer, the sign of the home, of containment, of nourishment, of care, is taking us on this journey to review, revisit, revise the way that we take care of ourselves, to put it very simply. And the thing is, we're in these new energetics. We are new. We are a new version of ourselves, and what level of care is required for this new version that we're becoming? What level of care is required to step into these new roles and responsibilities, this perhaps new pace that we are being asked to move at? I can speak for myself. It has looked like coming into new self-care practices and like what deeply and truly nourishes me, and having to let go of the ways that I used to nourish myself and care for myself and come into this new way of caring for myself. This Mercury retrograde has also asked us to like float in what we're meant to float in and stew in what we're meant to stew in, and allow our emotions to be our guides. Neptune stationed retrograde about a week ago, and when Neptune stationed retrograde, he gets really loud. Neptune is everything on the other side of the veil. He is the fog of unknowing, the cloud of dissolution. He is also unity and oneness and higher heart. So when Neptune stations retrograde, while Mercury is retrograde, our logic is out the window, okay? It is a time to lean into other ways of knowing. This Neptune retrograde is going to bring in this cloud of confusion, this cloud of unknowing, but what this cloud of unknowing does is it slowly dissolves everything that was once like in form, that was once in structure, that was once solid. It dissolves it into like dispersed particles, into this formless. You can think of the caterpillar dissolving completely into goo, right? This dispersion of particles. And then from this dispersion, what does not serve is simply let go of. It stays in particle form, and what is meant to carry forward will slowly coalesce into the new form. The goo becomes the butterfly, wings emerge. So Neptune brings in his cloud of unknowing, completely dissolves us, and this is in confusion, folks, right? Like, we don't really get to know what's going on while the fog has rolled in. We can't see 2 feet in front of us. But when we sit in it, when we stew in it, when we float and ferment in it, when we allow ourselves to be dissolved, this new form can coalesce and we can find new ways of moving forward. Right? So Neptune is a part of this larger bucket that's at play right now between the outer planets. And Neptune in particular is, let's say, special this moment in time because of the conjunction that he had with Saturn in February. This was at 0 degrees of Aries. Fun little fact, okay? This one blows my fucking mind. The last time that Saturn and Neptune came together at 0 degrees of Aries of the first degree of the entire zodiac, we had the birth of agriculture. Do you know how impactful agriculture was to evolution? And we are living in that level of shift right now. Okay, I digress. So Saturn and Neptune came together at 0 degrees of Aries. This is Neptune, the vision, the dream, the other side of the veil, this new vision, this new dream that we want to make manifest. Saturn, reality, the boundary of reality, the keeper of reality, the hard work that it takes to make the dream. Neptune, manifest. Saturn. Right? So they're coming together at 0 degrees of Aries to birth this new paradigm. Okay, now fast forward to today, to this Cancer new moon, to July, we have Neptune stationing retrograde. It's having us reimagine, review, revisit, revise this dream that we're dreaming in, and perhaps the way that we are going about the dream. For me, this has showed up as I was getting into rigid ways of going about making this dream manifest. Like the way that I was trying to do the Saturnian work was getting a little bit rigid. Neptune came in with his fog, complete fucking confusion. I'm now questioning everything for days on end. And as I come out the fog on the other side, I'm gifted with these new inspirations, this new way of going about it, this new way that I can go about creating this new reality for myself. Neptune being retrograde and existing in this bucket is being hit by Pluto on one side, Uranus on the other, and Jupiter across the wheel, right? So all of these outer planets are dancing together, and it's like the background music. It is the orchestra that is playing. We can't simply look at one thread because the entire orchestra is at play right now. Let's jump back to this Mercury retrograde for a second. So Mercury has been taking us on this journey to understand the level of care and nourishment that we need to go the long haul, to run the marathon, right? Because this old way of working for many of us collectively was from these outdated patriarchal structures of like productivity at all cost. I will sacrifice my health, I will sacrifice my family, I will sacrifice everything for success. Mercury retrograde is saying, hey, that new dream, Saturn and Neptune, that you want to ground into reality, there's a different way that we can approach this. When we rest, when we care for ourselves, when we care for our health and for our body, when we support ourselves to the level that we need, we can actually allow ourselves to run more efficiently. We can actually do more in the long haul without burning out. Mercury retrograde being conjunct this new moon speaks to the seeds that we're planting under this new moon are coming from a place of deeply nourishing ourselves, or perhaps the seeds that we are planting are these new ways of nourishing and caring for ourselves. Also under this new moon, Venus is in a yod with Neptune and Pluto. So a yod is a fairly rare aspect, also known as a finger of God, and it is Neptune and Pluto, both quincunx, so they're both pointing at Venus, and this is a very fated aspect in astrology. Okay, so Neptune we've kind of talked about. He's that new dream that we're dreaming in. He is the other side of the veil, everything that is formless, higher heart, unity, this higher octave of love, but also this cloud of unknowing, this disillusionment. Pluto is lord of the underworld, right? Pluto is the archetype of the dark masculine. He is the one who can look at all of the dark, gnarly, deep, dense things about you, the things that you don't want to see. He can look at them and love them. Yeah. Pluto takes us on an evolutionary journey to embody more of our own power by becoming sovereign over our underworld. Pluto is going to force us to look at the things that we don't want to look at. Otherwise, our own inner demons are stealing our life force and directing our life. There's that Carl Jung quote that if you don't make the unconscious conscious, then your shadows are controlling your life and you're calling it fate, something like that, right? Pluto brings us into more power by facing our deepest, darkest depths. So we've got Neptune, this higher octave of love, but also this cloud of unknowing, this formlessness, this dissolving of reality, and this new vision that we're birthing in. And Pluto, lord of the underworld, the one who wants to evolve us into higher octaves of sovereignty, pointing at Venus. Venus, the lover's aspect of the feminine. Venus is a personal planet. It's very close to consciousness. It is beauty. She is values. She is our relationship with life itself. Venus is of the body. It is Aphrodite, right? The feminine, the lover's aspect of the feminine. To me, this screams feminine reclamation. This screams that we will not go into the new without the reclamation of the feminine. Neptune brings this aspect of dissolving the patriarchal structures, dissolving the old values, dissolving the old beliefs, dissolving the old ways of relating. And Pluto asks you to stand in your fucking worth, to know your worth, to know your power. This is the big overarching theme of this year. The feminine, the masculine and feminine inside each of us they've each been going on their own journey this year. And the feminine, her journey has been one of reclamation, of reclaiming the parts of feminine essence that have been demonized, denied, and repressed. This is intuition. This is feeling. This is the other ways of knowing. This is relationship with all of life. It is life force itself. It is sexuality, sensuality, reclaiming of our bodies. And not only just inside of self, but out into the world. We can look at nature. Nature is life itself, and we see the ways that we claim nature, that we rape nature, that we use nature for profit. We take and take and take and take and bleed her dry. The feminine is saying no fucking more. She's rising and standing with her power, and she's demanding equality. This is not like switching the poles and the feminine is now wanting power over. This is an eradication of power over structures. The feminine is rising and demanding power with. That's the thing. We need both. We need the feminine to rise and we need the masculine to meet her. We need Shiva and Shakti together, Venus and Mars together. Sacred union is what we are going for here. This is that new dream. This Cancer new moon at the same time of this yod, I think is powerful. It's a further planting of seeds of sacred union. And while the feminine in this yod, Venus in this yod, is on this reclamation journey, Mercury retrograde is the reclaiming of rest, reclaiming of care, reclaiming of sacred cycles, reclaiming of pleasure. These are also other aspects of the feminine that are denied. Again, we can look at nature. If it's too hard to see in ourselves, nature undergoes seasons of rest. In winter, the earth rests. It pools its energy, it replenishes its energy so it can bloom in spring and shine in summer. We have those same seasons within self. We are nature. These cycles, they're natural. And I was speaking with a friend recently, and we were discussing like aligning with sacred rhythms and letting go, dismantling, dissolving, Neptune, these arbitrary structures of time, right? And she was saying sacred cycles are alive, right? So the lunar cycle, that's alive. It has life force. It is like like we are following the moon. The seasons, that's alive. Those are the cycles of nature. There is life force behind it. Our menstrual cycle as women, there's life force in that. But the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, like this 9 to 5 work day, those are made up. They're human made up constructs. They're not alive. There's no life force. There's no juice. We just all subscribe to them. So what would it look like to unsubscribe and align with sacred cycles that are alive? Just throwing that out there. Also, this new moon is square Vesta to the degree. Okay, so Vesta is our inner sacred flame. And Vesta, she's priestess, right? Priestess of the inner sacred flame. And her gift to us is this narrowing of focus into the inner sacred flame. And where do we direct our inner sacred flame? Our inner sacred flame, our life force, the flame of spirit that lives inside of us, our inner sacred flame. Where and how do we direct that inner sacred flame? And in saying yes to something, in saying yes to our inner sacred flame, we're saying no to everything else, right? So Vesta's gift is not only this focusing and directing of the inner sacred flame, but also saying no and pushing away to everything that is not in alignment with your inner sacred flame. So this full moon is in a square. Squares are 90-degree angles. They are points of tension, points of integration, and they can feel a little bit challenging, right? Because you have this right angle, and the angle needs to go one way or another. This is not a super stable form in geometry. In geometry, this is not a super stable form. The angle needs to go one way or the other. So we have these two energies, this new moon and Vesta, our inner sacred flame, and they're in this kind of unstable point of tension. The energy needs to go one way or another. So how can we align deeper with our inner sacred flame? How can we integrate our inner sacred flame deeper into our life, is what the square is asking us. A small note on Hygeia has just moved into Leo and is squaring Chiron at 0 degrees of Taurus. So Chiron, our deepest wounds, the wound and healer, the wound that never really heals and requires this continuous tending, and through this tending of the wound, we discover our greatest medicine. Hygeia is effervescent aliveness, right? Hygeia's gift is this ease-filled, grace-filled transmutation of life force. It's life-giving elixir. It's taking poison, taking toxins, and just poof, transforming it into life-giving elixir. So a square, again, right, a challenging aspect, but can look very beautifully of just really easily, really gracefully alchemizing our deepest wounds into life-giving elixir. So just throwing that out there if it calls to you. We have to touch on this bucket again. So this is like the peak point of July, and man, these July energies are so intense. It's like this rushing river, this rushing current, this rapids that are just like monsooning over us. And you know, there's a Hopi prophecy that if you haven't heard, I'll put a link to it down below. I find it to be very impactful and very true, and something that we can let touch us and let resonate with us as a guide for this moment in time. But these energies, they're so intense, and the thing is, like, yeah, we're coming into this exact alignment here in July, and it's like so incredible and beautiful and crazy and chaotic, and we get to be alive for it. But these shifts don't just like happen in the blink of an eye, right? They happen over time. So we're in this really intense moment, and it's going to continue to unfold for years. So I offer this as, you know, what's really been serving me is some wisdom gifted by Madrona's Pulse. I'll also link her channel down below because she has been incredibly supportive for me in this moment in time. But she mentioned with this Mercury retrograde the importance of finding your own rhythm. And I think that's so important because this bucket in 4 different signs, it is most likely touching you somewhere in your chart. Like most likely you're getting activated somewhere in your chart, and we're all being activated in our own unique ways. So yes, we can watch these videos on YouTube and we can tune into the mentors and guides that serve us, that help us on this journey. But at the end of the day, you are the only person experiencing your journey. And trust your own rhythm, trust your own experience, float in what you're meant to float in, steep in what you're meant to steep in, and find the wisdom in your own experience. The truth is, you know. You know where you're being called. You know where you're being guided. You know what the next steps are. You know what you're meant to do. And it's very possible this Neptune cloud of confusion is sweeping in, and like, you might be sitting here like, I don't know. But that will pass, because you do know. You are your own greatest guide. These energies are just so fucking intense. So once again, what care do you need? What nourishment do you need? What nourishes your soul in these intense times that allow you to stabilize these higher frequencies, to operate at this new pace? You know, for me, this year, listen, I have a little Virgo perfectionist kink, okay? My sun's in Virgo, and there's a piece of me that is just like, has this kink of integrity. And it's like, I could be doing better. I could be doing better. Like I need to do better. I need to get it right. And this Mercury retrograde and all these energies showed me, holy shit, I am pushing my body system to its maximum capacity. I am giving every ounce of my energy to the things that I'm called to give my energy to. I literally do not have a drop more. That was so like revolutionary for me. One, Mercury retrograde, what care do I need to replenish myself as I'm giving that much of my energy? But it was this moment of, I am at maximum capacity, and I have been pushing myself to maximum capacity all fucking year. There is no better. There is no more. This is the best that I have, and I've been giving the best that I have all fucking year. So taking a moment to honor that in myself. And then Mercury retrograde, what care do I need to make this maximum capacity my new baseline? So what feels like maximum capacity now becomes just the level that I function at. But it takes care. Otherwise, I'm going to burn myself out. I will never be able to maintain this pace. That's like what all of this is coalescing into. Things aren't slowing down. They're only speeding up, babe. What care do you need to give yourself to support the new version that you're becoming, and this new reality that you're creating, and this new energetic density that we're all evolving into? New Earth is here, new human is here, and we're learning how to tune into it. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me, for having this conversation with me. We co-create these conversations together. I would love, love, love to hear how these energies are showing up for you. Let me know in the comments down below. I also have a Substack where I write some stuff on the lunar cycles and astrology, and I'll link that down below, along with practices to support you in this moment of time and some other fun stuff. So make sure to check it out. Okay, love you so much.
Ready when you touched me, I thought I see the stars. Remember when you had me?